Welcome to the It Podcast. As you all know by now, the It Podcast is powered by Monterex. Make sure you head over to monterex.com and take advantage of the 15% off they offer if you type in Legit at checkout. Monterex have been the main sponsor of the podcast for a while now, and their gear is a belter. So head over to the website now and take full advantage of the Legit promo code. So before this episode starts, if you do enjoy the Legit podcast and you do want to support us for just £1 a week, you can on Patreon. And with doing so, you get early access to all our episodes and an extra weekly episode of me and Jordan just chewing the fat. Thanks for the support. Nice one. What's happening, everyone? Welcome to the It Sportcast. It's me, Andy Grant.
It's me, Jordan Neild.
Happy Friday, everyone. Happy Friday. Massive shout out Monterex and Veer clothing. You know by now, Legit 20 for 20% off Veer, and just Legit on its own for 15% off Monterex, plus Legit 10 if you want some scran from Health Kick Kitchen. So to the boys out again, thank you very much. Don't forget, go and support the sponsors and take advantage of the promo codes. Another week.
What, so much has happened this week, hasn't it?
Just going to apologise if this runs over the kind of hour mark, because fuck me.
I know. We've got a Sportcast Topics WhatsApp group, haven't we?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's gone off this week, innit? I mean, there's obviously a much more serious matter going on in the world right now than the sport, which is affecting the world of sport.
Big time, mate.
So,
big time.
If anyone... just want to apologise first off, my energy's a bit low. I've just been in the gym and I'm fucked. The reason I'm going to the gym, though, if anyone is not on our Patreon, me and Joe talk for an hour once a week. It's quite funny.
Talk.
And someone said we should do a Sportcast series. 5 sports, me and Jordan going at it. So just in case one of these sports happens to be a physical one, I'm just making sure I'm getting tip-top in the gym.
Physicality's out of it. It's all mental.
He's trying to go a bit technical, isn't he?
See a couple of people on there still supporting me, lad.
I know.
There's a hashtag going and everything.
It's the fuck.
There is, lad. Team Jordan.
Team Jordan, my ass. So there's going to be a little Sportscast series of who is the greatest sportsman on the Legit podcast. So if you're not on Patreon, that'll be coming out soon. But
Yeah.
Apologies for my energy if I'm
And if you
absolutely done in.
If you want to join the weird world of Patreon, get over there.
But joking aside, it's this Ukrainian thing's fucked, isn't it? It's scary, and it's obviously having a big impact
on football. Like, you know what I mean? It's not. You talk about Abramovich and that, and like.
Do you want to kick off on footy then? Yeah.
I guess it's all under the one banner, isn't it? It's like.
Well, yeah, most sports we're going to touch on.
Winter Olympics, F1, football, tennis. It's not really. It's not. There's not. I don't think there's a sport.
Well, I'm going to go on the bit where the least bit. So we start on F1. So they shit out at first, didn't they? The F1. They said Russian drivers or the Russian sponsors cars can still drive, but we're just going to take off the Russian sponsors.
Yeah, and then they were doing like, I think it was like driving under no flag or
that was it.
You know what I mean? Something along them lines, anyway.
But they've now actually thought what we're thinking, and now they've sorted it properly. So they've now been Russian F1.
Apparently, it's done. Like, it's off the calendar indefinitely as well. Do you know what I mean? And I think there's a lot to go in order to solve what's going on. But I think Putin takes sport, Olympics and stuff very, very seriously, doesn't he? And I think, I'm not saying that's going to stop him from doing what he's doing, but, them sorts of sanctions in the sporting world might go some way to...
You know what, listen, it's no price to pay, but I know I obviously wish this hadn't have happened, but have we left that radio on? We have, haven't we now?
For people listening to a little bit of factual, yeah?
Obviously, wish this hadn't have happened, but the one thing this has done is it's brought the world together, hasn't it? Yeah. Like, it's brought the world of sport together to say to Russia, fuck you, you can't do this, like...
Yeah.
So they're making tiny steps at a time.
I do feel bad for some Russian athletes, though. Like...
Just normal Russian people who aren't bellends like Putin.
Exactly, and there's like, obviously, a lot of these Russian athletes may have worked, countless years, sacrificed things and families and whatnot, and then because of one or a group of lunatics, because it's not just him, is it? But it's like, their dreams are then slashed for what? You know what I mean? For what? What's the upside? But
no,
I mean,
there is no upside.
And I think you look at sport. Obviously, Abramovich is. I don't know enough to know why he's getting out or why he's being told to get out. But it's it's obviously
fucked. Yeah, I've got a few little things that I heard on the Abramovich. So before we get into that, then F1 that's gone. Verstappen,
40 mil
a year.
Yeah, I think so. Per year.
You reckon he's tied with Hamilton?
Yeah, he's close to Hamilton. Yeah, till 2028. They've obviously locked down the best driver in the world at the moment, but 2020, it's some dough that, you know, that.
That's not even sponsorships. That's just his wage.
No.
From
And he's one of the most sponsored fucking athletes in the world, I think. He's like 24, isn't he?
40 mil a year for driving a car.
And that's only the figure that they go, he's on £40 million a year, isn't it? I mean, whatever he's on, he's wealthy now, isn't he?
He's doing all right.
Yeah, but there might be a quid behind him.
Do you reckon when they do these big contracts for the like of these superstars, like, you know, Ronaldo's and Messi's, do you reckon they go, for tax purposes, we're going to give you X amount, but there's a house there in the Bahamas that's, you know, under so-and-so's name, it's yours.
Yeah.
Do you reckon they do stuff like that?
Mate, 100%. I mean, you've got to be... If you look at businesses, not everything is, you know, you can do things, or people do things that are not breaking any law or anything, but it's also not being
ethical,
100% transparent, isn't it? I mean, but as long as they're not breaking no laws that are set, then, you know, but... I definitely think the figure that's presented is different to the figure that Max Verstappen's sitting on his couch thinking, oh, get it. Yeah. But I think, you know, he's earned it. He's some driver, isn't he? I mean, he's about as much fun as the fucking chair over there. Like, he's dry as anything, but he's earned it from his talent, like.
Yeah, it makes for an exciting F1 season.
Can't wait. It's only it's the Sunday we get home from Cheltenham, innit? Kicks off.
Is it?
Yeah. Same day Liverpool might play United, but that's obviously
it's already been moved.
Has it?
Yeah.
It's
going to be FA Cup weekend now, isn't it?
And the draws Thursday,
yeah. So we both know now, yeah.
Oh, for fuck's
Winter Olympics, like you've just said then, poor athletes, but I think it's obviously the right move, isn't it? Any Russian athletes have been banned from both the Paralympics.
It's the only way, isn't it? I mean, we don't want to stick on it forever, but it literally is the only way to make some sort of stance to say you can't participate, and it's wrong, but it's wrong, but it's right. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like it's wrong for them, but it's the right thing to do. What's the alternative?
Yeah, that's F1 Winter Olympics, mate. Basketball. Did you see that clip of Steph Curry?
Did you? Oh, mate. Do you know how I got? So I'm more into NFL than I am into basketball, but I do try and catch up on it now. It was Instagram reels of him that got me into it. It's fucking stupid.
He's crazy good, him, isn't he?
At every shot, I know this sounds really like simple. Every shot, like they land in the same part of the net. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was like the back rim and then just dropping in. It was. He does this thing. If anyone's not seen it,
well.
He starts off on like I don't know what line is, the 2-point line or something. That's quite close. Ping, throws, walks back, ping, walks back, till he gets to like the halfway line and then moves back again.
Yeah, mate.
It's
what he does in them all-star games as well, where the kids and stuff are behind him. He'll throw the 3-pointers and he'll turn around and say to them, it's gone in, and they go, yeah, and then he'll run back off. He throws them, doesn't even look.
It's cool, mate.
It's what we were talking about maybe months ago now, but, you know, natural talent. I know he's worked hard on it, but there's only people born. He was born to throw them, mate.
Nah, I
do you know what I mean? He was.
He's done that shot 1 billion times.
I know 100% that he's worked to get to that level, but I guarantee at one point it was like he had some sort of base freakishness.
I don't know.
You don't just start from nothing. Like me, that's like saying.
But he started when he was like 5 doing it.
That's what I mean. But there's some like natural talent to throw it.
I told you, didn't I? Without doing the old name drop, told you I said that to Ronnie O'Sullivan, and he got half offended. And
I understand why, but what I'm saying, I'm not... The problem with...
It takes away all their hard work.
No, it doesn't, not one bit. And what I'm saying is, because you can be talented and do nothing. I know hundreds of talented people who didn't do fuck all. But I'm saying...
Yeah, but as talented, though.
Yeah, but you're born with that. It's then on you to run with it. But, mate, not everyone can... You could... There's people in the world who could practice for 5 hours per day doing 3-pointers, and they'd never be as good as him. You just can't get it.
Let us know. Is it natural or is it hard work?
I believe it's right. I believe you're born with it, and then it's on your responsibility to work at it. But you have to be born with something, because otherwise...
Either way, lad, he's fucking born on another planet, because he's unreal.
He's like 30 odd as well.
Quick shout on the old horse racing. We've got a Cheltenham preview night coming up on Wednesday in the beer cellar. Do you want to put a link out, shall we?
Yeah, so I'll put the ticket link out. We'll be on the stage interviewing Tom Bellamy, who's fucking hilarious. Top jockey, obviously won loads of big races, got rides at Cheltenham. But to be honest, I think that chat won't even be about horse racing. He's just a funny fella.
Is he?
Yeah, do you know what I mean? So I think we'll try and approach it from a different angle. It won't be who's going to win at Cheltenham. We'll try and get some stories out of him, try and get something funny out of it, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like try and...
Bit like a sportsman's dinner type thing.
Because he is funny, do you know what I mean? So...
funnier than you?
Well, ish. see how he performs, but that'll be good because, as I say, Tom's good, and then the night's really good. You always get a few winners out of it. Star Sport today, I think they do like a match bet thing where, if you place a bet with them, then you get like 25 quid free bet. Beer Keller's great, obviously. It'll be a good night, really good night to come down.
Get down, support
and raising money for Stamp Out Suicide as always.
Boss, mate, just a quick one on golf. Obviously you said last week Mickelson come out and said
oh, funny that.
they're all crazy in Saudi Arabia, and McIlroy's come out rightly so and just said basically, fuck me, everyone makes mistakes, you are allowed to say sorry and then move on and all that. But what I thought was mad was just the sheer amount of money in golf is just like...
Do you know what? We've got a lot of interest from listeners for us to progress our golfing knowledge.
Well, I will do now because this...
Because you want Albert to be a golfer.
I just think you're never cold and wet, are you, playing golf? It's always...
Unless you did that one tour in Scotland.
Mate, they're always just... I mean, this photo I've got up at Tiger Woods just in the sun, just loving life. You're just always in a nice sunny place.
It's a man's dream golf, isn't it? Sunday with the lads.
So
I'm just crap though. I am crap.
Well, you want to improve and you hear this. So Rory McIlroy, Jordan Spieth, Bryson, DeChambeau and Justin Thomas were the next four in the standings, all receiving 3.5 million quid each, with Dustin Johnson, Brooks Koepka, John Rahm and Bubba Watson getting 3 million each for finishing in positions 7, 8, 9 and 10. If I can come 10th in a sport and get 3 million quid, get me involved.
Imagine being the 10th best player at golf in the world. It's so hard, that, lad.
Tiger Woods has finished top of the PGA's Tour's inaugural Player Impact Programme and will receive 6 million quid despite not playing in an official event in the past 12 months. Yeah, they do that then.
It all works out for Tiger, doesn't it?
12 months he's not played in a professional event for, and he's just got 6 million quid.
What a man. All power to him.
Get your kids into golf, I'm telling you.
Yeah, well, my mates say that all the time. My mates are big golfers, like. They love it, but mate, it's solid. I just want to be competent. I don't mind. Do you know, if I was competent but just come last out of my mates every week, I wouldn't be bothered.
Yeah.
I just want to be able to do it.
Make it sit yourself every 2 minutes.
I just want to get round and go, yeah, Jody can do a bit. Do you know what I mean? He's all right, but I tell you what, do you know, in our little challenge, we should do mini golf though.
Oh yeah, it's a good shout.
I'm deadly with the putter.
I'm deadly with the putter.
Seen Happy Gilmore?
Yeah.
Happy learning how to put.
The little shithouse went, you can't do no pull-ups or press-ups.
Who wants to watch me and you doing pull-ups?
No one's gonna want to watch us play golf. Believe me.
Oh, they are. When you're taking your finger and I'm in your ear.
Right. Yeah, Jordan reckons he's gonna win the war of words. Mate, in tennis, again, got a soft spot for Novak. He got beat the other day, which obviously you're allowed to do, get beat. But because he's not played in the Australian Open and he hasn't played for a while and stuff, he's now lost his number one ranking.
Just for losing.
He's lost one game, and it's the first time since 2004 that either Nadal, Federer or Djokovic haven't been number one.
Fuck off.
How mad is that?
What, hasn't Andy Murray ever been one?
No.
It's always been like 2 or 3. And he's right up there at one point, wasn't he?
He was 2 for a while, wasn't he? But he's only ever won one.
No, he hasn't. 3.
3, is it?
Yeah.
These lads have won 20.
Yeah, he's done Wimbledon twice and then the US Open. Yeah, it's a different league, innit? But you'll never see anything like them again. I'm telling you. Not 3 that good at the same time.
Since 2004.
Yeah, it's a long time, mate.
And the other thing, mate, is a former tennis star. I use the word star lightly. Sergei Stakhovsky. He's just signed up for the Ukrainian army.
Another one? See that DJ Khaled meme? That's another one.
I'm waiting for Shevchenko to go.
I'll probably get injured. Army Christian's gone, boys.
He's running on the stretcher and his hammy goes, drops the stretcher.
Shevchenko will be the slowest soldier of all time.
Yeah, you wouldn't want him carrying your stretcher, would you? Or doing an ammo resupply.
Yeah, just like proper slowly, just walking out with it. But I reckon he'd have finesse with the gun, like.
He'd be bending the bullets.
Just one of them guys, and you know, in training, like, fucking hell, Andre, you done this before?
He'd have like the deathly touch, just go down, just looking pistols to people's heads.
Do you know what? How unlucky would you have to be, though? We're not making fun of war here, by the way, but how unlucky would you have to be to like be in battle and run into fucking Alexander Usyk or something? Like,
well, that's...
Mate, do you know what I mean?
Well, should we go back onto boxing next, mate? Because
please don't.
I know it's going to be hard for you, this Jord, but
I was having fun then.
We'll do boxing, footy, then UFC, right? So
yeah, I've got to finish with the Covington Masvidal, haven't we?
Before we talk about the horrendous actual boxing, how do you feel, mate, that, again, if anyone listening on Patreon, we've worked out past few weeks that Jordan's a shithouse.
No, I don't like war.
And no one likes war, but we found out that if basically England was the Ukraine, Jordan would not be following in the footsteps of Usyk and Klitschko's. He'd be on on an EasyJet flight to the Bahamas.
That's not... Oh.
Since when EasyJet started doing flights to the Bahamas, I don't know, but that was Jordan's
that'd be a rickety flight, that. Fuel's going, boys.
That was basically his stance. No. My stance was I'd be alongside Usyk and Klitschko. But
you're such a tit, you know.
That's true. It is mad to think, though, that, and again, I hope this doesn't happen, but like the Klitschkos are literally in Ukraine, in Kiev, you know, with a couple of machine guns.
One of them's the mayor, though, isn't he?
So he's had to lead by example, hasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of... Do you know, the only thing I think is, and I respect what they're doing in terms of going back and showing solidarity and all that. I do actually respect that as much as we've joked about it. But I don't know whether I believe they'd be fighting. Do you know what I mean? Well, how much of it is a mark of I'm Ukrainian and I'm back here to support, and how much of it is, right, if this kicks off, I'm going to be driving a tank, or, you know, I'm going to actually have a gun. That's
soon going to find out, mate, because I think you're right. At the moment, it is a case of, look, we're still here, we're prepared to fight, and that's great sign of solidarity. Next couple of weeks, mate, it could be a case of they are thinking, fuck, we're picking up guns here.
And that's the bit I don't know whether I believe they'll do. But it's like, you know, it is a right mark of solidarity what they're doing. But it's like, when you talk about careers and that, you know,
Usyk, what's going to happen there? Well, he's come out and said that he's not even thinking about getting into a boxing ring.
No, but things change quickly, don't they? And, you know, that's all you can hope for. But yeah, the Joshua Usyk fight for now is on the back burner, isn't it? I mean, I can't see that happening.
Do you reckon Joshua's gutted he never dodged the fight?
No, because I think this buys him time, doesn't it?
To do what? Overthink shit.
Because I think Joshua might end up having to fight me, and then the thing with boxing is it's very fickle, isn't it? I mean, if Joshua has a fight and knocks somebody out who he should knock out, and then that buys him a bit of time, and then going into the Usyk fight, the narrative will be, oh, Usyk's been away doing this, you know, has he still got it, all that stuff. Just I think if Joshua was to fight Usyk in May, I would suggest he would get knocked out this time if Usyk was fit, rather than because he couldn't pretty much knock them out last time. I think Joshua's done then.
Usyk could be coming back, lad, with a few confirmed kills on his fucking CV.
Scary enough, and he fuck me. But yeah, that's what I mean. I think this just buys Joshua time, and it also buys him a bit of narrative to say, you know, I couldn't take that fight because of this, and then, you know, I assume Usyk might have to give up a belt or two. Joshua might win a vacant belt. Do you know what I mean? It just buys him. It probably puts years on his career, because I think 2 back-to-back, you know, a defeat in the conclusive fashion it was the first time, then a knockout defeat. I think that probably puts Joshua as a second tier heavyweight in terms of, like, yes, he was world champion, yes, he was like unified for a bit, but he could never really get to that. They were better. Do you know what I mean? Whereas now, if he doesn't have to have the rematch and he wins a few fights, it's sort of like, oh, he just had an off night against Usyk. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It buys him. It at least buys him. I don't want to say excuse, because the one thing you can't say about Joshua is he doesn't make many excuses. But yeah, I just think it just buys him a bit of time, I think. Fury's retiring, though, isn't he?
What?
So he's you know, obviously this week got confirmed in the Fury White, April 23rd. White didn't show up for the press conference. So the other player, and he said, this is my last fight, but it's obviously not. Well, he just come out with another...
See why I do that? I start falling in love with him again, and then he just talks shite.
This is my last fight, he reckons.
Why is White not turned up?
Basically, so he's contractually given 80-20, so he's given 20%. So basically, in his contract, press conferences won't be in there. So press conference is more an act of selling the fight to obviously heighten what you earn. But I think Dillian White's purse is all but set. So basically he said,
fuck, I don't need to.
So I assume what he's done is gone, right, my contract for this fight is to, you know, enroll into the drugs program, turn up fight week, be here on Tuesday, here Wednesday, here Thursday, weigh in Friday, and then fight. And then he's gone, like, anything else, you just can fuck off, I'm not doing it.
Or give me more money.
But basically he said, I'm not flying on the Ryanair flight, because he's based in Portugal. to get to a thing. I could get COVID or whatever. And then Frank said, I'll put a private jet on for him, but White said sort of he hasn't. But I think, to be honest, I don't know how I feel about it. I mean, I think he's well within his right to not go. Do you know what I mean? But I understand why people would say, you got it, don't be a baby, get there, sell the fight and stuff like that. But I mean, if you've seen one press conference, you've seen them all, especially with people like Fury.
He sold out as well, quick, didn't he?
Yeah, but it's the old tout system, innit?
Oh, really?
So I think they were back on StubHub within 30 minutes for £700 for £150 ticket or something. But yeah, that's another conversation entirely. But yeah, Fury's back at it. I mean, it's a good fight, and I think we'll obviously deep dive into it.
Yeah, close to the time.
But yeah,
did you see big John Fury and Frampton having it?
Yeah, I quite like Frampton. Just saying me opinion.
Being honest.
Yeah.
He turned round. He went, "I'm going to turn me back to you." So Frampton goes right and just walks away, and he turns around again to have another go at him, and Frampton's gone.
But I like John Fury. What I did like John Fury, and I like sort of the way he speaks, especially around this sort of. At one point, he said Fury was going to fuck it up because he had all these people around him. But I don't get this hard man constantly being He said at one point, "How can you back against the Fury? They're an unbeatable species of man." Do you know what I mean? It's because. I wish Carl Frampton would have said, because Tommy's garbage, mate. And we can all see it. We're going to go on to in a minute about an eye test. When you watch him, you can tell he's not Tyson. It's very simple. And all Frampton said is, it's probably a fair fight. Tommy's not very good, Jake's not very good, but you'd probably back Jake to win. And I don't see that. I don't see anything wrong with that. But Frampton's been good this week, mate, because he's real big mates with Josh Taylor, real big mates with Jack Catterall, is invited to Josh Taylor's wedding, as he was saying, and he said at the end of the fight, Josh Taylor lost.
Did he?
Do you know what I mean? He's my friend, but he didn't win that fight, and I quite like someone doing that. Just being themselves.
Yeah.
But I've always liked Frampton. He's always come across as, a good fella.
Before we touch on the absolute farce that was the Castle fight, just touch on that Wasserman boxing and bring it back to normal
Channel
TV.
5. Yeah, so Wasserman is a big sports agency. It's very prominent in football and stuff. They managed Groves, I believe, for a while. They've always dipped into boxing a little bit. But I think they've now got a partnership with the Sauerland brothers, who are obviously promoters from Germany. And yeah, they've just obviously signed a deal. Channel 5 have always been in boxing historically. They've always worked with Mick Hennessy. I don't know whether that might be a bit of a joint partnership sort of thing, but yeah, I think there's boxing on terrestrial TV for me.
Bring it to the masses.
Yeah. I mean, we well know in here, I'm a massive rugby league fan. They've recently signed a Channel 4 thing, Channel 4 contract for early kickoffs on a Saturday, 12:30 on Channel 4. And I said this in conversations, the beauty about terrestrial TV, although we're moving to a different world, is people do still sit on the couch and go, what's on TV? And they can come across, oh my God, there's a bit of boxing on here. Might watch it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They don't have to be... Because whatever you say about Sky, it's still a subscription. You still have to have a Sky package to watch it.
Yeah.
I think the more boxing that's out there, the better, more platform for boxers. But yeah, terrestrial TV and boxing will always have a relationship, and good on it.
Right, deep breath.
Mate, do you know all them sentences I said? I was just thinking about it.
Deep breath. What the fuck went on in that Catterall fight? Do you know what I said to you? I went, the bookies never get it wrong. Jordan texted me and he went, I've had to go on 8.5, over 8.5, over 9.5, over 10.5. It's to go the distance. And Catterall, fancy, that was his 5 tips. So anyway, I'd had money on Catterall, and the final payout, it was like 85% of that final payout. The bookies never get it wrong. No. Never. And yet he doesn't win the fight. Sickening.
Mate, honest to God, so on last week's thing I said I didn't want to say it last week, but I said Josh Taylor by decision's probably the wise bet because of it in Scotland. But as I said to you, Jack Catterall at 7-1 was stupid. I think I might have been the only person on Twitter and stuff saying this is like a close fight. I couldn't believe people were thinking to walk over. But to put him at 7-1 anyway was disrespectful completely to his ability. But then the fight, mate, so at halfway he's winning 6-0. He is 6-0 up. He then maybe loses round 7, because I've watched it again. Maybe loses round 7, drops him in round 8. They both get a point deducted, so you both get a point deducted, which then cancels each other out, right? So then you could maybe argue for Taylor, maybe round 9, 10 maybe, and then I think Catterall wins the rest. So you're telling me in that fight he wins on their scorecards 114, 111, don't even know the intricacies of it, but you're saying he won 4 rounds of 12. He was 6-0 up in everyone's eyes in the first half of the fight. Like,
the fact in the rounds as well in the corner, his corner to tell him you need to knock him out.
The good thing about the mics in the corner is they can't lie there because you're
telling your fighter.
You're telling your fighter. Plus, it's your job. At that point, you're thinking my fucking job's on the line. These paydays are on the line. And he told him he needs to knock out. But I always say about the eye test, look at Taylor in between rounds. He's got a look on his face if to say, I am losing this fight. You can tell. It's like, and Catterall, Jamie Moore, who was unbelievable in the corner, unbelievable game plan as well, was saying to him, right, you've won that one, another one. Do you know what I mean? And you can see on Catterall, he's so focused. But no matter what you can't even score it 6-6. It's impossible to call a draw. So to have Ian John Lewis say it's 114-111 is just fuck it. I've always thought it was incompetence. I always thought that. I always thought they were just fellas who were in the Gentlemen's Club, mates with everyone, get these jobs. It's like a boys invite only club, like the fucking Masons or something.
You think it goes further now?
I do now, yeah, because there's no way that can be incompetence, mate.
I think what struck me most was the next day when you said the difference is, Catterall's next fight, if he was the winner, could have been 2, 3, 4, 5 mil.
Easy, yeah.
Now it's going to be a couple $100,000.
Yeah, so if he'd won all them unified titles, whether he'd done a rematch or not, he'd have earned at least 4 or 5 million, at least, which sets his family up for life. He will now get, 200, 300 grand maybe. Mate, he was on the tools like 8 months ago. Back on the tools because he'd stepped aside to this fight to allow Taylor to fight Ramirez to unify all the belts. He didn't get a penny to step aside and had to go back and work and surely.
It's fucked up.
And then gets to that point. How many people get to that point and can't quite do the performance? And then, you had your shot but you didn't take it. He took it with both hands.
It was hard listening to Jamie Moore after it, wasn't it?
Oh, mate, he just I thought he's a scary man, Jamie Moore, I thought he was going to smash the gaff.
I love him.
But he was just honest, and I think all week he was, and I think Taylor looked edgy and not very confident all week. Catterall looked great and confident all week. It played out that way, and they've just robbed him. I mean,
what happens from here? There's an investigation. Is it just going to be an internal investigation or what?
Well, yeah, the British Board of Control investigate themselves. So it's basically like me and you getting here, something going on, me and you getting here, going right. We, in everyone's view, we fucked up here. How are we going to solve it? You're going to say, what can we do to make it right? You're not going to go, lad, you were wrong there. You did this, you did that.
You wouldn't accept responsibility.
Exactly, fucking telling you. But they wouldn't. They're just going to go. Ian John Lewis is going to go. Either, give me that brown packet, mate, so I just put 114, 111, or he's going to go, I did this, and then his mate, Robert Smith, the head is going to go, okay, Ian, I've known you since you were 40, you're now fucking 111. Let's get you across.
Fucking horrible, isn't it?
But the Fight Disciples, Nick's podcast, they've done loads of, so they called it out not first, but on their show, and they've actually had Robert Smith on. And I don't think I love Nick and Adam, but they didn't really get it into Robert Smith. Yeah, and he said, I thought it was a close fight. I thought it could have gone either way. They were his words. Like, they weren't close. It's like, just watch it again.
Well, you're thinking he's winning by, 7, 8 rounds or something?
Mate, the most I can give Taylor, the most I can give him, and it's generous, is 4. The most. And that's like maybe giving him 1 he shouldn't have got, 1 or 2 he shouldn't have got. But the fact remains, he didn't win the fight. But judging has to be changed because they're swayed by...
Yeah.
It needs to be, to put them in a studio outside.
Remember when Jazz on the pod and he was saying,
you can't be impartial,
it's impossible to be impartial, isn't it?
They need to be outside, mate. They've got enough facilities now to put them in a van. Like the sort of broadcasters, studios on wheels sort of thing they've got. Put headphones on them and say, right, this fight now is 12 fights in one. So you judge round 1 as a fight. Who wins? Right, again, scratch that. Round 2, go again. And I spoke to Nick Pete actually this weekend after it, and I said, mate, I would love to train as a judge because I can watch a fight and read what happens, but I wouldn't because I'd have to get in bed with them. There's no way a new judge goes into that, or a new official, and then they allow him to judged correctly. It'll be what the fuck. Because I guess
like an old man's club,
I guess the process is you've got to sit and sort of dummy watch fights. So if you score it correctly and then Ian John Lewis is next to you and goes, well, I scored it the opposite way, they're going to say he's right. So the whole thing,
you get that thing if you're undermining and you're like, you know, people who've been in the business.
Mate, it just the whole thing needs reform, but it's embarrassing for me. It actually is, because and then fights, you know, I'm only a small cog in a massive boxing wheel, but them fights, people text me, people who listen to this, my mates, friends, family, whatever. Oh, I've seen this build up for this fight. What do you reckon? Oh, do this, or this is a good bet. And then they text me like, what the fuck went on there, lad? And I'm like, oh, mate, it's not always like that, you know. But it fucking is, isn't it? The fucking whole thing just stinks. I hate it. I hate it badly, but I love it at the same time.
What have we got on this weekend?
Boxing.
Anything?
Yeah, Chocolatito over in America versus Julio Cesar Martinez.
Your fucking tone then. What have we got on this week? Chocolatito, like.
That kills me though, you know, it actually does. I've been waiting to fucking say that all week. But
I know, lad, it's fucking horrible.
Yeah, it is horrible, but...
We get Jamie on, I spoke to Jamie, I text Jamie after it, like, and it's just fucking... But he was, we'll get him on, mate, when there's no shells and that, I'm
because
sure
because he thinks the same way we do, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
but yeah, Chocolatito, who's obviously a pound for pound great legend, fighting Julio Cesar Martinez, who's a machine. He's coming up. It's a late notice fight. It's actually a sick fight, to be honest. Back on the zone, Sunday morning job for the non-hardcores. But yeah, really good fight. Why were you? Should we touch on the betting?
Yeah, I met someone last week and they said, oh, Andy, love the sportscast and all that, blah blah blah. I have to like switch off though when you start mentioning tips, and it just dawned on me and Jord a bit that me and Jord do like a gamble, but there are people out there who don't, and people who might go to Gamblers Anonymous and struggle with it. So what we're going to do is not throw up any tips, tell you where to put your money. We're just going to obviously talk about sport, and anyone who does want to kind of have a go at having a bet, we're going to do a separate show on Patreon where me and Jord give our tips out then. But it's not fair to people who struggle with gambling for us to tell you where to put your money. No. So
yeah, if you are keen to obviously get involved, it will be the standard, you know, as we stand, £4 a month, but there'll be a separate show on Patreon where, you know, you'll win your £4 back. But it's just good to separate it, isn't it? And you know, to allow people, because the Sportcast's got enough. Look how many pages of stuff we got. Do you know what I mean? And hopefully people will come over.
It's a bit easier as well on Patreon if when you are on it, we'll just put like the text out along with an episode of just the tips and stuff. But
yeah, it's good to separate the two. But yeah, hopefully see a few people over there. But yeah, good fight this weekend. It's sort of like the old guard versus the new guard now with him coming in at late notice, Martinez. But yeah, super flyweight. These are obviously not very fashionable divisions, but sometimes you get fighters like Chocolatito, 50-3 years, been around for years. Unbelievable fighter. Taking on Martinez, who has been over the UK and starched a few people. Charlie Edwards, 18-1. But yeah, there's a couple of people on the undercard. Lara, who came over and battered Warrington. He's got another chance. So yeah, it's a good card. Obviously over in the US, but yeah, Sunday morning job on the zone.
Right, we'll whiz through footy before we talk on UFC.
We must have missed something in boxing, I think, but it was Cattle, wasn't it? Just dominated.
Think, probably have, but
next week.
Again, not telling you where to put your money on that, but what I did think was interesting on the whole betting thing was Liverpool before the cup final were 150-1 to the quadruple.
Yeah.
It's gone down to 50 now. Oof. So again, just in with regards to what people are thinking, I mean, get a decent draw in the FA Cup.
It's on now, mate.
They've already got one leg in the Champions League one.
You know, what we're starting to do now, though, players are starting to play well who we need to play well. The likes of your Minamino, you know, Curtis Jones.
I think the squad depth, it's been the first time in such a long time where, you know, we can play a League Cup game or an FA Cup game against a lower team, put in the squad players and actually go through. Or feel confident or that they're decent then, which is a rarity for being a Liverpool fan over the years.
I think Minamino's growing into the player people thought we were signing, you know. He just looks a bit more like confident, and a couple of times last night he was taking the ball, not often, but, you know, saying to the likes of Henderson, gives the ball, do you know what I mean?
Well, I was there, mate. You don't always get to see this on telly, but I was there and he was screaming for the ball when Karate had it. You know, if it was Virgil, he just would have pinged it.
Yeah.
He's screaming, mate, so much for it. He was in so much space, and he obviously didn't receive it all the time. But yeah, totally.
I'm starting
agree.
to understand. Like, Klopp's always been very, very bullish about him, hasn't he? In terms of like, he'll be ready when he's ready. Sort of let him do like slowly, sort of thing. Went to Southampton. Obviously got a couple of games under his belt, but
done well at Southampton.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not trying to say he's going to go on and be Salah, but I'm starting to sort of think, understand what Klopp was seeing.
They were great, mate, and it was great to see.
Another trophy in the bag.
Another trophy, mate. I was there, brilliant. Absolutely made up. Boss day. Absolutely loved it. A good game as well for a 0-0.
It was intense, wasn't it?
3 or 4 disallowed goals.
Yeah, there's loads in there. The couple, didn't they?
Did you see Elliott's been warned by the FA?
Oh my God, for picking up a flare?
Not hold a flare.
Get a grip.
Fucking anal, that, isn't it?
Mad. Do you know what he done? He picked it up and went, yes, put it back down.
I know.
Who are you hitting? Kid's 18, just won a cup with Liverpool.
You're not allowed them, are you, in the ground or something? I don't know.
I'm all for him. Elliott's a player as well, I mean.
Obviously, Everton have got boring words, but we won't know. When you're listening to it, you'll know. But
tell you one thing on Everton. The fucking handball against Man City.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
He's come out and apologised, hasn't he, the ref?
Do you know what? Like, I know we are Reds. How good was Lampard's interview?
Yeah.
That was one of the best manager interviews I've ever seen, you know. He just said, but I think he will say again this week, what good is your apology to me? He wasn't saying the thing in terms of, like, I think what most people were thinking in terms of the title race with City. He was like, we're down here, you know.
Yeah, we need these points.
And you're just like, your apology's not going to keep us up. I don't think they'll go down, but your apology's not keeping us up.
You say that, right? But they've not got many games left.
I know.
There are not many games left.
Brentford are in 3-4 though, aren't they?
Brentford are in 3-4.
27,
what was scary about
24.
it is midweek when Burnley played one of the games, they obviously got beat by Leicester, but when it was 0-0, Everton were in the relegation zone. That's how bad it is.
Yeah, it is bad. But I think that's what... And I was good to see Ashley Cole had a right go at the ref as well, because I'm not there for people shouting or crowding refs, but when it's wrong, it's wrong. And I think Lampard come across brilliantly after the game. He's just like... What he said was exactly what every fan was thinking. Okay, if the ref gets it wrong, no problem. But you can see it.
Yeah.
Like,
that VAR, how they can... Why they didn't even say to him, go and have a look for yourself. That was the maddest bit for me.
Mate, football's the only sport that fucks VAR up, you know.
I know.
Rugby league has a video assistant. It never, ever, ever, very rarely gets it wrong. The fella who's doing the VAR's mic'd up, the referee's mic'd up. As soon as the decision comes, you'll hear the ref say, so you'll either say, I've got try, but look for this for me. Yeah. And then you'll hear that as the viewer. And then you'll hear the fella go in the van say, okay, I'm looking at 4 camera angles right now, just give me a minute. And he'll go round and then he'll go, like, and then he'll say, right, I can't see there, let me see that. And he'll go, yeah, you were right, or yeah, you were wrong. And you know, because the players trust the ability of them, whether it goes against or for them. I know, you know, the attitude toward refs is different in that sport. They don't complain because they know that the referees are competent.
That's what they've proved this season. The whole VAR, as good as technology is, the referees themselves are not competent.
There's nothing wrong with the technology. The technology works. The interpretation of it from the refs is the wrong bit. The idiots. And they've got egos, which is worse.
Yeah.
Football referees think they are a part of football. Like, they're a part of the game, but they believe they are.
Yeah. They've got their own, like, characters, haven't they? What I thought was interesting, though, is someone said that to Pep afterwards, you know, do you think this is going to have a bearing on the season? And he was like, one instance going to have a bearing? No. And he's right, you know, one little thing shouldn't determine who goes up and who wins the league and who goes down. But he's rattled, you know. Yeah. He's rattled.
Pep will always get like that.
But he just seems to get... He's got the best assembled squad in the history of world football, and he seems to get rattled an awful lot, I think.
The thing with Pep Guardiola, and I've said this for ages, and this isn't even because I'm a Liverpool fan, it's as soon as the Champions League heats up, his nerves fucking go every time, unless there's no pressure from anyone. Now there's pressure on 2 fronts, and as soon as he gets a sniff of the Champions League, because as much as he plays it down, that's what he was brought in to do. Yeah. His nerves go, and you know, I fucking hope. I thought it would be a Liverpool Man City final, but I hope we draw them next round. Because we'll beat them right now. We will.
Played them 3 times in a week.
No, but we will beat them in the Champions League now.
Sort of our teams you will not be winning in this season is Tottenham Hotspur.
Harry Kane, 29 years.
Yeah, 29, not one trophy to his name.
It's a fucking travesty, that, you know.
Yeah.
For the player he is, like.
Conte's just had enough already, hasn't he?
Spurs is definitely one of them places where you walk in and then someone puts a load of shit on your desk and you go, oh fuck. What have I done?
I didn't see this from the outside.
The training ground looked boss when I was looking on fucking Sky Sports News. What's going on here?
They need a complete overhaul there, like, don't they?
that.
They've got 2 or 3 decent players. The rest of them are just bang average.
I think Everton should take heed of what's going on at Spurs. That ground was the worst thing that ever happened to them because it put them on the back foot. They have to. That ground needed instant success.
When you talk about a ground, I mean, again, you mentioned last week how unlucky Everton are. This Usmanov, if you're thinking that he is the money behind Everton and all these assets getting frozen and stuff like that, will this ground even happen?
You've got to ask serious questions now. You know what I mean?
You look what's happened to Chelsea with Abramovich. Yeah. There's got to be Evertonians thinking.
I think deep down every Everton fan will be. Would there be, there'd be the distinct hope that it was built without his money? But mate, we've all got a brain, haven't we? And we all know that he hasn't just paid for the naming rights of that stadium. Do you know what I mean?
It's like we said before, how people get paid. Yeah. There's certain things that go on which we'll never know. Whether legal or whether you want to say morally right, morally wrong.
I hope it does, because it's massive for Liverpool as a city, it just can't. There's serious doubts now. There's got to be, hasn't he? Yeah. If you just look at it impartially without being a Liverpool or an Everton fan, you have to be in doubt. But hopefully it's not as big as a problem as it looks on the surface. The problem is, mate, as well, which Evertonians will look at is, like you said, just said then, Chelsea. So Abramovich, he's obviously selling up. What I thought was mad, right? This is how deep it went. At one point, if they'd frozen his assets, he would have had to kind of cease to run his business, right? Which actually would have meant that Chelsea wouldn't have been able to sell a single ticket for the game. Oh, what? Because his business is...
Because his business is frozen. Yeah. That means you can't work.
Make a transaction.
You can't make a transaction if your business is frozen, which essentially would have meant Chelsea wouldn't have been able to sell one ticket. That's why he's in a fucking rush to get rid, because it just affects everything.
Ownership, as much as Liverpool fans especially believe they know what is right and what goes on. You haven't got a clue.
No, and with that Chelsea thing at the moment, mate, it's apparently their new ground. It's going to cost even more because it's like on a tube station or something.
Chelsea's new ground?
Yeah, well, they want to try and improve it and stuff. It's on like a tube station already, or they need to build on a tube station. I think the pitch itself is actually owned by the fans. Yeah. It's obviously in a built-up area in London. There's so much going on with that sale and stuff like that, and it's fucking
scary
madness.
Times, isn't it?
And so about owners as well. The sad thing is about Derby. Rooney's obviously having a good go, but Derby have yet to receive, or the FA, FPL have yet to receive confirmation that Derby can actually survive till the end of the season.
I feel so bad on Rooney now, like, do you know what I mean? Not Rooney, the players, they're giving everything, aren't they? But
they got beat, didn't they, last week? And
the writing's on the wall.
He's fuming at full time. You see him?
Yeah. He's a winner though, isn't he, Rooney?
Yeah, but after watching the Rooney talk, and you see how angry he gets.
Yeah.
And he's going to the ref at the end, he's fucking scathing at them. Yeah. And then even the journalist at the end says, do you feel hard done by or something, by a bad decision? And he went, what do you think?
Yeah.
Just stared. I was like,
that's, you know what, a lot of that is because he knows he can still play, and he's out of control of it, do you know what I mean? There's a lot of but yeah, mad fucking week in footy, lad. My God.
Yeah. Last couple of bits in footy, mate. FC Sheriff Tiraspol.
Say that again.
Their old manager's gone back to Ukraine to be part of the fight. Another one that you wouldn't have been seeing next to, George.
DJ Khaled. Another one. Do you know what I mean?
One of the fucking absolute Mission Impossible jobs, mate, which actually could happen, is Sean Dyche.
Mate,
most he's ever spent 15 mil.
Mate, look at Burnley squad. I've banged the drum about it. I even had to go to Liverpool when we started crying because they were roughing us up. Yeah. Like,
you did call it when they were bottom of the league. You went, because they had about 10 games in hand, and you went, they'll get out of it.
They will. They know how to get out of it. Sean Dyche is one of the most underrated managers in the league. And he'll never get a bigger job because the way he plays doesn't fit modern day footy. I get that. But I guarantee when Burnley get too big for the boots and say, we've had enough of Sean Dyche, we wanted him appoint a Portuguese fucking tactician to go down, be down at Christmas. I mean, what he does there is very similar, and you might laugh at me now. What he does with his players is very similar to what Klopp does at Liverpool. They all love him, and they'll do anything to play for him.
I think he just keeps things simple.
Yeah, but he does. But he's got players like Josh Brownhill, Ashley Westwood, good, solid footballers, but probably wouldn't play with any other Premier League team every week. But what he does is he fills them with self-belief, he gives them instruction, and they will do anything for him. And that old thing about hard work beats talent couldn't be any fucking more true when you look at Burnley. And they will get out of it. And,
I hope they do.
Do you know what I mean? And they're not a very fashionable team because of the way they play, but I like that. I like that they don't... He doesn't go, right, I'm going to start playing out from the back because that's what football is now. He says, right, Burnley are what we are. If you don't like it, and he tells managers as well, don't like it, lump it. This is what we do. And
who do you think's going down at the minute?
Norwich, obviously. Norwich, Watford, Brentford, I reckon.
Yeah, I'm nailed on with Watford and Norwich.
I don't know what Leeds, whether Leeds this Jesse Marsh thing, because Bielsa's gone, hasn't he? Whether Jesse Marsh comes
back.
Yeah, but I felt quite bad on Bielsa because what he's built, but you can't talk about ways of playing, mate. That old, like, man, we watched it on Anfield last week, didn't we? You can't do that, like.
No, I know.
But he's a very good manager, I think, Bielsa. I think he'll get another job somewhere and he'll do really well. But
I think it genuinely is a toss-up between Brentford, Leeds and Everton. Yeah. Who were taking that third relegation spot.
Yeah, I think Brentford just look like a team now who, like, would do anything for the season to finish. You can tell it by the players and stuff.
It's Norwich and Brentford this weekend, so that is a 6-pointer if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, it is.
Mate, really sad actually. I don't know if you've seen that clip. There was that women's goalie in Stanford University. Obviously, sports big over in the States, even like at lower levels. And she saves a pen. It was a poor penalty, to be fair. Like, it's a bad pen, but she saves it and she just goes off on one.
Yeah.
And she passed away, 22. Reading between the lines, I think she's maybe committed suicide. I don't want to be like, but I think it's one of those, like, you know, the statement read, if people are struggling, you know, speak to people around you and stuff, so you can kind of read between the lines. But
very 22, man.
It's 22. So, you know, sad, isn't it, though?
Story for a different podcast, isn't it? But it's like 22 years of age. Should never be.
Yeah,
it's the society we live in now, mate. Unfortunately, we're all in this crazy world where unrealistic expectation, especially on women.
Talking about in a complete opposite direction, what you've just said, the words unrealistic. Fucking Conor McGregor threw his name in the hat to buy Chelsea.
Would you be surprised?
Yeah,
I wouldn't,
because he's fucking, don't get me wrong, he's balling with his, you know, his 100 mil, but he's not in Abramovich's league with like the fucking 10-15 bill that he's got.
You don't have to put 3 billion up front, do you?
Lad, he ain't buying Chelsea. He's just wants to throw his name in the hat and get spoken about again.
He's going to be in for a fucking title shot when he comes back, Dana said.
That's a fucking joke if he is. Anyway, that moves us on to UFC. McGregor talking shite, it moves us on to UFC.
You get choked out by the human backpack anyway.
So, starting off, mate, London UFC a few weeks away, me and you will be there.
We will.
But the headline might not be.
Yeah, Volkov, Russian, innit? Depends what Priti Patel decides, because I think she's banned a few, hasn't she, so far?
Oh, really?
Yeah, so there's a couple on the card as well. I think it's one of them where we're probably, you know, you're looking at, maybe not, but there's another heavyweight fight on the card, which will be decent late replacement, but, you know, you look, it's hard, like, maybe if Greg Hardy, who fights this weekend, comes through and gets a knockout, he might be able to fly into the UK from the US, and he's a former NFL player, Greg Hardy, which is why he does decent numbers.
Yeah.
You know, that will probably fit. I mean, I think Tom would take care of him quite well, but, yeah, I mean, again, it's just about disrupting sport, isn't it? I mean, yeah, it's very tough on Tom because that's a big fight, that, as a heavyweight. He's a good gatekeeper, Volkov. It's probably disrespectful to call him a gatekeeper, but a win over Volkov is a real marker, you know what I mean, to say I'm here, like. But the bout sort of order came out this week, and it looks like Paddy's third on the main card, which means, like, co-main.
Really, yeah?
Yeah. You know, you got Molly and the likes on the prelims, but
I'm excited, lads, already.
Sometimes that can obviously change with, you know, people coming in, and he might end up being the first fight in the main card, but it looks like, for all intents and purposes, Paddy will be on the main card. I can't wait to get in there, you know.
I can't. I've never been to you. Oh, in fact, I have. I went to Danville.
But yeah, you'll.
I can't wait for that. Kane, is it Val?
Oh, Velasquez. God, where do we start? Oh, yeah, so obviously he's being charged with attempted murder, amongst other things.
When you first sent me, I thought he'd had the whole kind of brain injury.
CTE, gone mad.
Went a bit mad and just shot someone.
Yeah, but the way it's hard because you really can't, I know me and you do push the boundaries a lot, but you actually can't talk about criminal proceedings and that, do you know what I mean, in terms of that. Well,
what he's meant to have done then.
Yeah, but I think what Dana summed it up yesterday and said that he doesn't know enough about it, but what we all say we would do in that situation, it looks like Kane's gone and done. in terms of, you know, there's an accuser, there's someone who was accused of doing terrible things to a family member, and Kane has took upon himself to
sort it out
eliminate
himself.
the problem. And you know, there's obviously a hashtag going around of Free Kane at the moment, and for everything I've heard, he's a great fella. You know, he was an unbelievably talented mixed martial artist, but suffered with injuries quite bad, but he's helped loads of fighters. You know, you only have to look at the outpouring of support.
Yeah.
But if he has done what they're saying he's done, I don't know, well, power to him, really. I mean,
I would have done the same.
If we were in that situation, we all say we would do it, and I'm sure we all would. But yeah, you just don't know. There's obviously laws, isn't he? And if he's done what he said they say he's done, he might have to pay the price. But you know, if what's true is true, then you know he's done probably the right thing. But just such a difficult thing because it's so horrible. It's, you know, it's his life. He's a dad and stuff like that. It's just a crazy situation. But yeah, I think the overall feeling's just a sad one, isn't it? You know, horrible situation.
Anything else you want to touch upon before we start getting you all horny for Kobe and
How can you not
George?
I've bought into this like a WWE fan, me, you know. Love it.
Is it have you got to say Jorge or is it George?
Jorge Masvidal.
George.
Kobe calls him George, doesn't he?
Does he? I'm gonna call him George.
Jorge Masvidal.
Who are you pinning your hopes on? Have you got like a kind of my head says this, my heart says that?
Yeah.
Or
I think Kobe's gonna wrestle fuck him. Just pick him up and just fucking hold on to him. Because Kobe's a very, very good wrestler. Masvidal's a good mixed martial artist, but obviously not on that level. But I think the only way Masvidal wins is standing and having it. And, you know, landing a little sweet one right on him. But I think Kobe's not stupid. He's going to know that. I think it could be a case of, you know, I'm going to put you down there, sort of have a go at you while you're down there, say, come on then, get up.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? The whole story behind this is just insane.
Well, I asked George before we started recording, I said, you know, is this a little bit fake? Is it been, you know, you've threw a butty on it and they're trying to, you know, build it up? You don't reckon it is?
No, I don't, because they were genuine friends, like they were real friends. It wasn't just like gym mates, they were friends. Trained that American Top Team together. The story goes that Masvidal introduced Kobe. So Kobe was recruited by American Top Team to be a wrestling coach and a fighter. So basically you come in, we teach you, but you bring up the level of our wrestling because you're so good at it. So it's a mutual agreement. And then, you know, he then meets Masvidal, they become friends. They sort of, Masvidal's in the UFC, Kobe's on the amateur circuit. Masvidal introduces Kobe to certain coaches who then become part of his team, all like a brotherhood, you know what I mean? Like we're all sort of pulling in the same direction. Kobe then wins the interim title, I believe it was, against Rafael dos Anjos, who's on the card again this weekend, and then doesn't pay his coaches, which Kobe clearly denies. Masvidal sort of took that personally in terms of, I introduced you to these people, like I said you were solid, guy, you know what I mean, and then you've had them off.
Yeah.
Then they were both, I think that Dan Lambert kicked them both out of the American Top Team, said there's too much drama between you two, both get out. Kobe got off, Jorge refused to admit it and ended up remaining at the American Top Team. But then that's when it started in terms of like, you didn't pay our mates, we're no longer friends. Then there was a little bit of backlash in the media, all that stuff. But then Kobe, being Kobe, you know, he done the Make America Great Again with Trump, didn't he? And then, you know, he's now...
That's what made me think, is he just doing it because you told me on the Sportscast, you know, months ago that, you know, he's
getting cut.
He's playing the game, he's getting caught, he's playing the game, become a little bit, you know, do we hate him or not? And look at him now. Yeah, but is he doing this again?
No, I probably would agree with you because, you know, he's now doing, you know, not to go into it, but in America there's obviously a lot of unrest with police, isn't he? And like his whole thing now is about like police, how good they are, and you know, he walk out with like a police hat on and stuff like that. But he said stuff about Masvidal being like a crap dad, doesn't pay his wife's this, like he doesn't look after his kids. Like, it's not stuff that, for example, if they got round the table and went like, Kobe, let's try and build a fight between me and you. Obviously we've had our differences, but you know, call me shit, call me a genuine, fucking have a go at me airline, whatever. Yeah. You don't say someone's a bad dad, do you? Do you know what I mean? No. Because that's just, it's personal, isn't it? It's very personal, and I do actually believe there's something between them, and it's going to get settled the old school gladiatorial way, innit? But I just don't see the fight being on the feet very long.
Think it could be a boring fight then?
I don't think it might. Don't know if it'll live up to the thing, but if Masvidal can keep it standing, or Colby decides that he wants to beat him Masvidal's own game, then we could have an absolute fire show. You know what I mean? But yeah, I just think Colby might just put him on the deck and just hump him. You know what I mean? Just have his way with him. But
yeah,
it's I
can't wait for it.
I'm well and truly into the narrative. Like, if you haven't watched any of the build up, the UFC embedded, the countdowns, all the stuff they put out, they come face to face Thursday, 1 a.m. Friday morning at the press conference. Then you'll have the weigh-in.
Train journey this afternoon, lad. I might just
then the ceremonials.
Smash it all.
Yeah, it'll be boss. But yeah, the card really good actually. Rafael dos Anjos, who we just mentioned, was fighting against Rafael Fiziev, which was a great fight. Fiziev got COVID. Makhachev, who fought last weekend, who we were talking about, Khabib's little protege, apparently, according to Dana, rejected coming in at late notice to fight dos Anjos. How true that is, we don't know. But then one of my favourite fighters, Renato Moicano, has come in to fight him 4 days' notice. That'll be a banger co-main event. You'll see this when you watch the build-up today, by the way. Bryce Mitchell versus Edson Barboza is also on the main card. Barboza, I don't know, you might not... Do you remember Terry Etim?
No.
Like Scouse fighter. So Barboza rose to fame by doing one of the most horrific kicks I've ever seen to Terry Etim, who trained out of Calgon and stuff, and knocked him clean out. Like, it's disgusting. You'll have seen the knockouts, but it's like one of the UFC's most viral moments. But Edson Barboza is a kicking machine. Like, when he kicks people, even me, who watch a lot of it, watches the TV and goes, that's audible, that. Like, don't do that. But then Bryce Mitchell is a crazy farmer from Arkansas who, like, lives on a farm, like a cattle farmer. He's on his early 20s, but he's a proper...
Farmers are like people, aren't they?
Can you say redneck?
Yeah, so from Texas, isn't it?
Well, is it? I don't know what it is,
I
but
don't actually know.
He's a proper one of, like, from the outback in the
like a hillbilly.
Yeah.
You'll say hillbilly?
I don't know what we're saying, aren't we? Shut us down, pricks. But so he refused to wear blue shorts. He'll only wear camo. So the UFC have had to get him camo shorts. You know, listen to him speak. He turns up to fight week in some big old boots and stuff. But he's so this is a fight between Barboza, who's a standard machine, obviously got serious power, probably too big to be a featherweight, against Bryce Mitchell, who is a grappling machine. He's one of the only fighters who've ever finished with a submission, a twister submission, which is disgusting. But not many fighters have ever done it. He has. So that's, again, battle of the wills. I actually fancy Barboza when he's the underdog. But yeah, that'll be that's a one for another show.
I'm excited for the Sunday morning already, mate.
Kevin Holland, who we spoke about, who talks loads in the thingies on the card.
Yeah.
He just starts talking to Dana and everything. But do you know what he's been doing? People who troll him, he's been getting them down the gym and fucking battering them.
Really, yeah?
But putting them in pads and stuff. And you know, usually they just give him a little lad. He's like choking them out and stuff.
What, just saying, come to the gym?
Yeah. So then they come down. He'll put them in and just batter them. Like, he's putting people in guillotines. And they're saying, like, you're a crap wrestler, and he's like, am I? Yeah, get in here with me. And he's putting them to sleep. Just fellas off the street.
Fucking hell.
Just going on getting beat up by Kev Holland. But yeah, he'll be as great as ever talking. But yeah, it's just a great card, mate. I mean,
it's all about that main show, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all about the dust up at the top.
So don't forget as well, we will, no doubt, George will be putting his betting hat on, and we'll get that on Patreon. We make a little text page on Patreon with all those tips. You can do that by clicking on the link on our socials, and yeah, get us some winners.
What have we done?
I'm scared to look, lads.
No, we're right bang on an hour.
Are we?
Right bang on, yeah.
Take that, lad.
Yeah, we've done well there, Alan.
Feel like you brought some good energy, lad, as well.
Do you know what?
I'm going for a fucking sleep after this,
I'm feeling good at the minute. I'm feeling happy. I'm just getting ready to batter you at sports.
Yeah, on that last one, it is a sports show. Don't think Jordan, because he's off the air now for 50 days, whatever it is, that he's like this peak athlete. I will win in whatever we...
You will not win.
Whatever we go for, I'm backing it. Backing myself. So... suggest some sports. We're going to do a little...
that little clip we put out, you did lose your head though, didn't you?
No, I just hate people talking shite when there's just no thing for it.
Why? I mean, I'm an all-rounder.
Lad.
I've got finesse.
Oh my God, I'm not even getting into this right now with him. Get your sports that you want to see. Me Smash Jordan, let us know. And we're going to be doing a little mini-series.
Have your head up your ass, you know.
On that note, have a boss weekend.
See you later.